When you got something inside of you that you know is what you're supposed to do, that you know, like, I'm supposed to be creative. I know that I'm supposed to be drawing, designing, or creating something. I thought I was supposed to be a fashion designer. After many applications, I finally got accepted to one of the nation's best fashion design schools, which was Parsons in New York City. So my wife and I, we packed up our 3 kids and we ended up moving to New York. Things started falling apart in my 3rd semester. And I remember being on a train and sitting in the back of the train and crying because I couldn't come up with a way to pay our rent. And I questioned God. By the time I got off the train, I remember just thanking God because I was like, well, regardless, I know you got me. Things continued to fall apart. We ended up selling everything. Eventually, my grades began to go down. I lost my job. And Marina and I, we began fighting. So what we decided, what was best, was to save all of our money and then move Marina and our 3 kids back here to Lawton. And they stayed with some friends of ours. Once they left, I couldn't sleep. Knowing that my kids would play with toys that were not their own. They were eating on dishes that were not their own. They were sleeping on beds that were not their own. Marina and I were talking one night, and we both decided that it was just best if I move here, because it was just too rough on our family. So I ended up packing up and I moved back to Lawton. When I moved back, we ended up having to get assistance. I felt like I let my family down, and now I'm standing in line at DHS, and it wasn't because I was wanting a handout. It was just because that I needed just a little bit of help until I can get on my feet. And I remember that night I went home and I told Marina, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. You're never gonna have to worry about being on DHS again. And so 89 days after I had moved back from New York, I actually got hired on full-time to Goodyear. I went in before work to exercise. I was running on a treadmill. While I was running on it, the treadmill kind of like, it broke or stopped or something. And when it did it, my hip popped. And I felt the sharp pain. When I got the news from the doctor when he said your hip is gonna have to be replaced, I was like, well, how bad is it gonna be? And he was like, well, it's possible because of your size that you might not come back after we put you under. It was very scary. I didn't want my kids to grow up without me. I didn't want my wife to be sad. I didn't want them to miss me. When I moved back from New York, I didn't want anything to do with art. And I was just like, I'm never gonna draw again, And once I got hurt, I was like, I gotta figure out something to do. And something in me said, I'm gonna sketch, I'm gonna draw, I'm gonna start drawing. And I reached out and on one of the social sites and told a celebrity, I was like, I'm gonna sketch you if you'll follow me. I woke up that next day and had like 12 followers. And one of those followers was that celebrity. I was like, well, man, I gotta find a pencil or something. I didn't know where a pencil, when you have kids, like, it seems like pencils, socks, and silverware just like disappear. I sketched him and he reposted that the next day. And I felt like I was where I was supposed to be for the first time in a long time. I had never picked up a paintbrush. It's kind of like when I was younger and my dad would say, you're gonna get up and do this. You got up and you did it. And that's how I feel about God. I mean, he is my father. He said, you're gonna paint. This is what I have for you. And this is what you're gonna do. And everybody's gonna love it. I painted my first picture in June of 2012. My daughter is the only person that likes it on the whole earth, I think. And it's hanging in her room. I remember like my third or fourth painting was a portrait of Marina. It was my first time doing a portrait. And I was a little nervous This is my wife. I was like, if I don't do this right, I'm going to be the doghouse. And so I did it, and I really liked it. And after I posted that, I got a really good response off of my social sites. 5 days after I had my hip replacement surgery, Marina would help me up, and I had a walker. I took my walker into the bathroom. I put my walker in front of the canvas, and I'd stand there, and I'd lay on one hand, and I'd paint with the other, because I knew that's what I had to do. I've always given God, the praise and the glory and the credit for things that I do when I can't explain it. Like I can't explain how in less than a year, I've got paintings all over the world. Professional athletes and celebrities and business owners, a prince in Dubai. It's got to be God, and it's something that he put in you, and he's pulling it out of me. Every day that I get in front of that canvas or that blank sheet of paper, he's pulling it out of me. You just trust God. I mean, some people don't like to hear it, but I mean, it's the truth. You trust God, and if you're waking up every day and you set out on purpose to live and to walk in your purpose, and you do what you're supposed to do, God, he's a provider. He'll provide, a way for everything that you want, everything that your heart desires. He'll provide a way for you to obtain it. Believe in yourself. Sky's not the limit. People always say sky's the limit, but there's a God. There's a heaven beyond that. Who doesn't believe in limiting you. I'm R.Peterson, and I am fulfilling my destiny.